Okay, welcome. I'm going to use this video to try to show everyone how to insert graphs and diagrams into your assignments. Or if you happen to be doing your exams on a computer and you need to insert graphs in that setting, then you can also use this method. Now, there are a few different methods. This is the one that I typically use, but if you go around the internet, you might find some other ones like using Inkscape or something like that. Usually they require a bit more time to learn. The one I'm going to show you now I think is fairly intuitive, doesn't use any software that isn't available on all the school computers, and looks pretty good. Okay, so imagine you've got your assignment here. You've written a bunch of really good analysis, you've written some more analysis, and now you need to insert a graphic in order to illustrate what you've done in your analysis. One way that you can do it just staying within Word is that you would go to the Insert tab, and you would go to Shapes, and then you could start drawing some shapes. The problem with that is that the shapes won't be anchored to the page. As you move them around, they will also move the text around, so I don't recommend that. But one thing that you can do is you can hit this thing down here, New Drawing Canvas, and now you've got this bubble here. Anything that you put in this bubble will stay where you put it, and the bubble itself can be moved around, right? So if I put it up here, then you see that it's moved that text. If you insert shapes, then that's what's going to happen. They're going to start warping the text, and that's really annoying. So I don't recommend you do that. So we keep the drawing canvas down there, and now if I wanted to, insert some lines, I could start to insert my graphics like this, and then when I move this thing around again, you'll see that the everything in there moves with it. So that's not a bad option. The reason why I don't like that is just generally because drawing in Word isn't as straightforward as drawing in PowerPoint, which is what we're about to do. And this drawing canvas's size is kind of irritating. I'd rather be able to draw something on a bigger canvas and then shrink it down to fit the area that I want. So what I recommend is that you have your document here, you also have PowerPoint available. Okay, so you go into PowerPoint, just get yourself a blank slide, and then start drawing into this blank slide. So say I want to draw, let's draw something fairly complicated like a subsidy. So if I want to draw a subsidy, the first thing I'm going to have to do is insert my demand and supply graph, so let's do that. So I go to Shapes again, and then I've got all these different shapes that I can use. The one we're going to start with is just the trusty old line. Okay, so I'm going to draw myself a nice straight line. No, because I just deselected it. I'm going to go back. Alright, I'm going to draw myself a line. Make sure it's straight, which is sometimes a struggle. And now, see how this line is super thin. It's not really not really handy for me. I want it to be a bit thicker than that. So I right click and I go to Format Shape. And now I've got all these cool tools over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it black. Okay. And then I'm going to make it thicker. So I think 3 points is about the minimum. And now I'm going to have a close look, and it doesn't look quite straight, does it? So try to adjust that. There we go. Now I could just draw a second line, but often what I like to do is just click on the one I already have, press Control C to copy it, and then Control V, and now I've got another line that's got all the same features, so I don't have to go through all this rigmarole here again. So now I've got my two lines, and I just move them around. Alright, so far so good. Now we'll make some more lines. So just Control V again to paste the line again. Now I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to make this one red. So this is going to be my supply curve. You don't have to make them different colors, but I like to. Makes it just a bit easier to follow. So that's going to be our supply curve. And then I'm going to paste yet another line. And this one I'm going to make blue. And this is going to be our demand curve. I'm going to put this in here. Alright, nice. Now, I might even make these a little bit thicker. How about that? So if you wanted to make all the lines thicker, you could press Control A. So that selects everything. And now we're just going to put this up to 4. Alright, there you go. Everything's thicker. Alright, now the reason why I did that is because I want to insert a few more lines, but these ones are going to be for my market clearing conditions, and I like these ones to be dashed so that you can tell that they're just an indicator line helping you to follow the market clearing price and quantity rather than them being about demand and supply or something like that. So there's my line for quantity. Now I copy that, Control C, and then Control V to paste. You can do that by right clicking and going to copy here and then paste, but hotkeys make your life a lot faster. So I recommend getting the hang of Control Shift and Control C and Control V. Alright, so I've got my market clearing condition lines now as well. The next thing I want to do is I want to add in my labels for supply, demand, quantity, price, these clearing conditions, etc. So I'm going to go back to the Insert tab and I'm going to make a text box. Alright, I'm going to click it here. Text boxes in PowerPoint are way better than in Word. They're just super easy to use. So we've got the text box there. It grows to fit whatever we put in it. I'm going to start with Q. And let's make this bold because it represents the whole graph. So Control B to make it bold. And I'm going to put it there. And then I can click on this and I can Control C, Control V, and I'll have another one. Let's make this price. This guy's going to go up here. And then we're going to have supply 1. So supply 1. If I want to make that one subscript so that it's nice and pretty, I go up here to font, I click that little arrow, and now I've got all these new options down here, and I want to look for subscript, and that's just going to shrink that one down. Alright, so now that I've got that, I can copy this, I'm going to put that over here, and this is going to be demand 1, and then I'm going to have another one over here, and this is going to be price 1, isn't it? But I don't want this to be bold, so I'm going to take that off. And now I'm going to copy this so that it retains its formatting. And I'm going to bring it down here. And this is going to be Q1. And then I'm going to go back to my original formatting. And I'm going to bring this over here. You see you get these nice guidelines. So that's telling me that these two things are in line. And I want Q and P to be in line. I want Q here to be in line with that P at the top. So how do we do that? Something like, no, that's good enough. Alright, and that's going to be my origin, so that's going to be 0. Okay, so we've got our demand and supply graph. Let's put the subsidy in. So I'm going to go back maybe to this. I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to make it not dashed anymore, so it's going to be a solid line. And then we're going to stick it in where I want it, just there. Shrink it so that it fits. Alright, nice. And now I need a couple more of these, don't I? To find the new price that producers receive. It's a bit wobbly. I'm using a touchpad here to do the mousing, which is not ideal. And down here, we've got the new price producers receive. And then we're also going to want something similar for the new price, sorry, the new quantity after the subsidy. Okay, so we've got all that. Let's get our new indicators down. So I'll use those guidelines again. They're very helpful here. So this is now Q2. And we're going to need the price that consumers receive. If you go over to the subscript, then you can delete it all and maintain the formatting, which is really helpful. And then we're going to need, oops, sorry, I got that wrong, didn't I? Did anyone spot that? So what this needs to be is, this is the price that consumers receive. and this is, sorry, the price that consumers pay, and then up there is the price that the producers receive for their output. That's why we get the bigger increase in supply. Alright, so we've got most of that down. Now what we need to do next, perhaps, is that we need to illustrate that this bar here is a subsidy. So for that, what I might want to do is I might want to insert one of these bad boys. What are they called? A right brace. Alright, so I insert my right brace, and I'll just make it a bit fatter straight away. Let's make it a 2.5, and we'll make it black because I like to use black for all my indicator stuff. And then we'll get it into position. We'll shrink it to there. Just extend it out a bit. Maybe I'll pull it across slightly. And then I've got to insert another text box just over here. And we'll say, whoops. Ah, no, what's going on here? Need a text box. Let's just put it there. And this is the size of the whoop. So that's weird. Let's increase the size of this thing. Size of the per unit subsidy. Alright, now it might look like you've got a huge canvas at the moment, but later on we're going to shrink this thing. So it might be a good idea for me now to already get ahead of that and just make sure this is nice and compact. You don't want it to go much past the line of this queue. So we're going to have a bit of white space there, but we don't want too much. I'm going to crop this later. I'm going to make it small. Alright, so we've got that there. Now maybe we want to show maybe the tax revenue, sorry, not the tax revenue, the cost of this subsidy. Actually, that's too easy. Let's do the hard one, which is the consumer and producer surplus. So remember that the consumer surplus, the increase in the consumer surplus, is going to be given by this area down here. So consumers previously paid that much, now they're paying this much, and so this area down here, which is quite a weird shape, that's the consumer surplus. So in order to shade that, I'm going to need two shapes. I'm going to need a rectangle to start with, which I'm going to put in here. All right. Just increase the size of that a bit. And we can right click on that and click add text. Where's that? Edit text. And I'll put plus consumer surplus. I'll just bold that. We'll make it black. Nice. But that's not all the consumer surplus, is it? So I'm also going to need another shape, which is my right triangle, this one, and that's going to be in here. Now your right triangle is sometimes a bit hard to fit, but there you go. Now see how you've got this annoying little line in here? That's frustrating, so we want to get rid of that. So we go back over here to format shape. If this has disappeared for some reason, just remember that you can right click and click on format shape, and that'll bring it back. Now what's happening there, I'm in shape options, so I'm not trying to adjust the text, I'm trying to adjust the shape. What I want is to get rid of the line. So the line here refers to the border around the shape, so I just get rid of that. What's that? So why is it still there? It's still there because it's in this bad boy. So we get rid of the line there as well, bang. Alright, so now it's just a nice smooth shape. So that's really good. Now, say I went ahead with this and I completed the producer surplus as well. If I wanted to show the cost of this subsidy to the taxpayer, I wouldn't be able to do it on this same graph without overriding the producer subsidy. So, sorry, the increase in consumer surplus, right? I'd be getting a shape like this, I'd be getting a rectangle, and I'd be putting the cost of the subsidy. Remember, it's the per unit cost times the quantity. So it'd be something like this. I'm not very good with the mouse here. There we go. And then I'd want to change the fill to something else. I like to use yellow for cost. Right, and then I could put some text in there, and I could say cost of subsidy, something like that. Right? And then again, I could bold that and make it black. But now I've obscured the consumer surplus, so that's a bit lame. Now you could just do that. You could paste this one in and then paste that one in, but just in case you want to sort of make further edits and stuff, what I like to do, and what's really good about PowerPoint, is that you can click the slide, click copy on the slide, and then just paste it there, and now you've got a duplicate, right? So on this one, I could do just the consumer and producer surplus. And then on this one, I could not worry about the consumer and producer surplus, and I could just do the cost of the subsidy. Right, something like that. There we go. And then on the next one, I could copy this again, put it down there. And this time, I could just do the deadweight loss, right? So I could insert a deadweight losses are usually a huge pain to do, but this would be a good learning experience. So we get this. Now, if you want to spin this triangle because it doesn't fit, you go up here to this loopy symbol and you turn it around like that, and then we try to fit it in. It's always a bit of a pain to get it to fit. And just adjust it. All right, nice. I like to use red for the deadweight loss. All right, and then, it might be hard to fit the text in there. So instead of saying edit text this time, maybe I'll put an arrow going into this box. I'll make that arrow black. We'll make it 2.5 size font, maybe more than that. Let's make it really chunky. 4. And then I'll put another text box in here. And we'll call this the deadweight loss of the subsidy. And I'll just shrink this box down till it all fits a bit more neatly. There we go. Alright, nice. Okay, so say you've got these graphs now. We haven't finished this one, but that doesn't matter. Let's do it. Let's finish it off. Alright, so I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it, and we're going to bring it up here. But we've got to format it a bit, don't we? So this is now producer surplus. We're going to want a red box, because I like red for my producers. But we could also make it green, maybe. Green's a good color for producers. And what's their increase in their subsidy? Right, see, it's a pretty annoying shape, so we've got to drag it over here and pull it up to that line. And then we also need another triangle. So we'll get that triangle. We'll make this one red. And then we've got to get it to be that shape, which is a bit of a pain. There, and then spin it. Is that it? There we go. It's not quite straight. I'll have to fix it again. So my suggestion is do this with a mouse, not with a touchpad, because you'll have a lot more dexterity that way. There we go. It's pretty good. Alright, so now we've got our graphs. What we want to do is we want to paste these into Word. So what I do is I'm going to right click on this, copy. We could do Control-C as well. We go back to the Word document, and now we're going to paste it here. I don't even know what these are, but that'll do. So you can paste it as a picture, or you can just hit paste. I think just hitting paste is your best option. Alright, so now you've got this here. So what you can do is you can right click and hit crop. And now we can shrink this down so that it's a nice neat size, right? So we've got everything in there. There you go. And then you just click and it's all sorted. And now it's nice, neat size, and you can just expand it to be bigger if you want. Okay? Boom. Probably say something like, see figure 1 for an illustration. And then, can I caption this? Insert caption. Figure 1. Bang. How nice. I mean, sometimes that figuring thing is really annoying, so probably just undo that. And my suggestion would be to just type it in. Figure 1 increases to producer and consumer surplus from a subsidy. Okay, something like that, right? And then if you wanted to insert your next one, where you're looking at tax, you just go back to your file here, click on this one, right click, copy, Go back here, Control V, bang, you do the same thing again, you just crop it and adjust your size. Alright, so that is my recommendation on how to insert graphs and other illustrations into your assignments or into your electronic exam. Please let me know if you have any questions via Waddle so that everyone can benefit from the answer that I give you. Okay, and hopefully if I hit Control Shift, okay. Anyway, I'm about to exit. I hope that was helpful for everybody. Have a good day. All right. Okay. Struggling to, oops, I got the wrong button.